right, so to clean up, after you printed, you can use Crisco vegetable oil. This actually works really well. Since it's kind of gelatinous, it doesn't make a huge mess. I usually end up using just vegetable oil. I feel like sometimes when people use that though, they use way too much and then it ends up being a massive hassle trying to clean. So you don't need a whole lot, just, I don't know, kind of a dollop. So you can take your palette knife, because that needs to be cleaned as well. And basically just spread that all over your palette. Scoop as much off as you can. I'm actually just reusing that on the plate itself. So there's still some residue, so you can sit there and using your brayer, kind of just roll through that, because then that'll get on the brayer and that'll make it easier to clean the ink off of the brayer. So have a dirty cloth, dirty rag, and you're just gonna wipe the ink off of the brayer. Gotta use a little bit of force. I mean, it's not gonna be perfectly clean. That's totally fine. I mean, these do end up staining a little bit because of the rubber they're made out of. It's totally fine. You do just want to try to get it as clean as possible. All right, so wiped off as much of that as possible. Then go onto the palette and wipe that. The palette knife, wipe that as clean as you can. Set those aside. All right, and then you have a little bit of that residue. So you can basically just use, I guess if you really wanted to, you could just use your brayer and roll that around on the plate. And then go back in, wipe all the excess off of your brayer again. And then you'll go through your plate down. So I'm also wearing disposable gloves. These are kind of nice. You don't have to wash your hands 5 million times during this process of cleaning. And obviously you want to wait until you're completely done printing before you do this, because you don't want to, like, you don't have to sit here and clean the plate in between every printing. Like if you're going to print, and if you're going to try to get your edition printed in one go, like you don't have to clean the plate off in between each time you're printing. It's kind of a waste of time. It's also a waste of resources. So you don't need to do that. All right, so most everything is off. You can set aside that dirty rag. And then I use like a simple green mixture to do kind of like a final cleanup. I feel that it does a really good job. It's not super toxic. It also cleans pretty much everything. I would say usually do like a 50-50 mixture. So 1 part water to 1 part simple green. If you want to have a little bit more simple green, that's totally cool. All right, so the plate is clean. Set that aside. And then everything else, I'm just gonna spray down and then clean and wipe off the excess. Yeah, so that final simple green actually cleans the burrs off really quite well. down the handle as well. Your palette knife. So your palette knife technically has 5 sides, the top, the bottom, and then each edge. And you want to make sure you get all the edges as well, because you'll end up getting, if ink residue is still on there, someone else is going to come in and use it, and it's going to get mixed into their ink. And then wipe down your palette. Both sides. And then move your gloves, and you're done.